Hell no. Like, just, okay. Like, this book I'm reading is, like, about myths and stuff, and I love it because, like, I love myths and, like, Greek gods and, like, goddesses. I'm like, it's freaking cool, okay? But, like, there's there's actually a few characters, but gods or goddesses that I don't really like, but two of the goddesses, I guess I could say, I don't particularly like at all are Aphrodite and Hera. Because Aphrodite is a slut, and Hera she has no backbone whatsoever. Like, okay, if you don't know the whole story between Hera and Zeus, like, Zeus is the god of gods, blah, blah, blah. He's, like, the god of thunder. He's, like, the god of lightning, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's so powerful. Ooh, I'm shaking in my boots. Like, he's so gorgeous. Like, wow. Amazing. Okay? Anyways, so, like, and then Hera's his wife, and, like, she's, like, the goddess of, like, marriage and land and, like, earth. And, like, she's kind of, like, the closest thing to Mother Nature that the Greek gods / goddesses have. And, like, but she's been married to Zeus for, like, how many millennia or whatever, and, like, he's cheated on her so many times, and she continues to forgive him and just is like, yeah, whenever, I love you, and, like, I'll forgive you. Although a couple times she doesn't forgive him, and then that's the story of, like, Hercules, and then there's the story of Medusa, and, like, a lot of different stories where she, like, enacts revenge, but she still, like, she doesn't blame her husband despite him cheating. Like, she blames the woman, and she punishes the woman, not her husband. And she just stays with her husband. And it just infuriates me because she's like, she's hurting the victims of her husband. And, like, she's a victim of her husband, too, because she just continues to forgive him and, like, does not give up on him. And I'm just kind of like, that's not love. That's, like, I don't know. I just hate it. And it infuriates me, and so I don't like that, and I don't like Aphrodite because she's a slut and she, like, has no loyalty whatsoever. He's like, I just hate her, okay? And, like, I know, like, in romance, like, whatever, love, and, like, the whole point of her being unfaithful is that she loves everyone, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Okay, I highly value loyalty, and just, like, no, just, so... And yes, I know there are other gods and goddesses that, like, aren't loyal or whatever and, like, stuff, but, like, they're, like, minor to me compared to Aphrodite and Hera. But, like, or Zeus and Hera's relationship and Aphrodite. Like, it's just, I don't know. I just hate their, like, system, whatever. Like, I just hate their characters. And so I'm, like, reading this book on Greek gods and goddesses, kind of, and it's, like, basically this girl, she's, like, a demigod, but she doesn't know she's a demigod because, like, her parents are, like, sheltering her or whatever, and she's the daughter of Pen. Oh, I can never remember her full name because it's hella fucking long, but, like, I'm just gonna call her Panay because, like, but she's actually really cool. She's, like, the goddess of, like, fire and, like, lava and, like anything, like, hot, basically. She's basically the goddess, like, of fire and, like, lava and, like, volcanoes and, like, anything, like, fire based and, like hot, basically. Like, that's the goddess Panay. And so she's the daughter of Panay and her dad, and the main character I'm talking about. And she has no idea. Like, she just knows that her mom, like, left when she was little, and then, like, her dad is raising her, and blah 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 blah. And then when she's, like, 11, her dad dies, and she's all sad about that. But then she finds out, like, when, like, how many years later, I don't know, but, like, a lot of years later, that she's actually betrothed to Jack Frost. If you know Jack Frost, like, he's, like, basically the son of Santa Claus. No, I'm kidding. He's not Santa Claus, but, like, he's I don't remember the name of the actual name of the god who's, like Santa Claus, but, like, it's just, like, a lot of, like, different myths are mixed together in this story. And so Jack Frost, like, is betrothed to her, and it's because, like, there's, like, a rift between the gods, like, the the warmer people. Wow, great description. Okay. The warmer people, like, just, we're just gonna say warmer people and colder people, okay? Like, I don't really know how to explain it properly, okay? Like, okay. Anyways, so, warmer people don't exactly like the colder people. Like, there's a rift between them. They've been fighting for, like, millennia. Like, they hate each other, blah, blah, blah. But recently, like, as in recently, like, the past thousands of years, or, like, the past 1,000 years or 2,000 years, I think, which is recent for gods, because, like, they live forever. But, like, they, like, have started to, like, be nice to each other, I guess, and, like, tolerate each other and, like, whatever, but there's still, like, the danger of, like, war happening again. And so they set up, like, this little, like, arranged marriage between the goddess Panay and Santa Claus God. Just calling him Santa Claus God because, like, I don't actually know his real name. His real god name, I guess. And his son, or one of his sons, but, like, he's already betrothed to his other sons, so his older sons, and his youngest son, Jack Frost, is, like, still single, whatever. So, like, he was like, okay, cool, I'll give you him, and then you can marry Benet. But Benet was like, hell nah, fuck that shit, I'm a god, like, I'm not marrying this dude. And so she put her daughter up to that task, and her daughter is her only, like, heir, so, like, she kind of has to. And so, like, but she, of course, has no idea because her mom, like, kind of abandoned her when she was younger. So, like, she has no fucking clue. Like, her dad had to raise her until she was 11. And then he died because one of the gods, like, got mad at him or some shit. And they poisoned him with ambrosiac, like, of all things. But ambrosia or ambrosiac, I think, I don't remember exactly what it's called. Like, exactly, because, like, I don't have the best memory, okay? Anyways, so, it's, like, basically, like, the juice of gods that is, like, so delicious or whatever, supposedly, but it's toxic to humans. And someone was giving him that, and he didn't realize it, and then he ended up dying, and, like, blah, 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 like, and the little girl, like, the main character was like, oh my god, he died of cancer, but it's actually ambrosia, blah, blah. And then, so, I'm not making any sense, am I? No, I'm sorry. I suck at explaining things, and, like, especially books, because, like, I get so caught up in the story that, like, I don't really know how to, like, explain the whole thing really well, because, like, I just kind of, like, jump through, like, the shit, and just, like, it's just difficult for me to explain shit. I'm sorry. Gross. That was what kind of noise was that? Like, okay, that was unconventional. Okay, cool. Okay, I still haven't left my bed today. I ate eggs, and then I went back to bed. Like, I haven't left my bed at all today. Like, great. But in my defense, actually, I have nothing in my defense other than being lazy and, like, liking this book. So, I don't really do anything. Like, without my cousin, I'm kind of like, I don't have anything to entertain. Like, I don't have anyone to entertain, so I don't really need to do anything. So, like, I just lay in bed and read, and, like, I really need to start my homework, though, because, like, I haven't started it. Like, I remember the summer school math, problems with that. I don't know how to start it, so, like, I'm gonna have to FaceTime someone and be like, please help me, I'm dying. And then, yeah. And then, but then also, like, I'm supposed to take exams and stuff every week, and I think it's on Thursdays, and today's a Thursdays, and it starts at, like, 9 something, and I woke up at 10 something, so I missed it. And also, I wouldn't even be able to do the exam because I wasn't doing my homework, so I'm doing great. Like, who's failing math? Summer school, second time, second chance, and I'm failing. Like, we're doing swell. Like, awesome. Also, did I mention, I was reading this book, and I was like, my cousin and I were, like, making fun of it, because I was telling her I was, like, supposed to be in the 1950s, but although the story was enjoyable, because it was kind of like an Oliver Twist / Little Princess Bride, like, hybrid, but I didn't really like it because, like, she wasn't very historically accurate, and, like, the way they talked is kind of just, like, how people talk now, and so I was kind of like, this isn't, like, actual realistic, but, I mean, it's a cute story, so I'm just gonna keep reading, but she, like, I would have appreciated it more if the author did more research and actually made the time period more realistic, other than, wow, they walked down the street and it was a street. And like, wow, like it was an old fashioned street because it's in the 1950s. Oh, look at this old fashioned car. It's the 1950s. And then randomly putting in words like swell and like jolly good. And like, they didn't really fit. And like, it was just kind of like awkward because like you could tell the author was trying, but she obviously didn't do her research enough to like actually make it realistic, and she's just kind of half-heartedly putting in jolly good and like just random descriptions that didn't really make sense, but she was trying to match the time period, but it was just kind of like half-assed, and I did not appreciate that. But like, the story was cute, but it would be way better if she was more accurate with the time period. But that's just because I'm a history nut, and like, it bothers me when people don't do history properly, because like, history is important, and like, you gotta fucking respect history, okay? Like, Jesus. But not everyone thinks that way, and like, not everyone likes history, and like, some people don't even learn history, and it's just like frustrating because like, history is very important. History is super fucking cool, and like, what do people find boring about other people's past lives? It's fascinating. It's fascinating to see how like our ancestors or just like people in the past like were able to like be so innovative and like grow as like people, and like, I don't know, like, it's just cool, and like, people aren't interested in that. Most people anyways, they find it boring, which is probably due to the teaching, because like, people like teach it like fucking like, just read the textbook, guys. Like, that's boring as fuck. Like, I don't care if you like history, if you don't like history, like, reading from a textbook is boring. Like, everyone knows this. Like, that's why teachers have PowerPoints. Like, I wish history was more fun, or they taught it more fun, because it's an amazing subject, and like, it deserves to be taught well, not by half-assed teachers, just kind of like, read from page 200 to 215. Like, you want us to read 15 pages back to back of some people that we don't even know? That's probably what most people think, and they probably get annoyed and they don't want to do it, and like, it's because they present it so poorly. Like, in a way, life is kind of like advertising. Like, it's like, you can't not present something in a good light and then expect people to do it. Like, it's kind of like advertising. Like, if you want someone to buy your product, you have to present it in a good light. If you present it in a bad light, people are going to be like, why the fuck would you buy your product? Like, it's the same principle. Like, if you want something to do something, you have to present it in a good light, not be like, oh yeah, just read. Like, just, you... Why, thank you, Grandma. Just walk inside my room, lecture me on something that I don't fucking care about, and then leave the door open. Like, that's great. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Right. Teenage angst, or whatever. Just, I hate it so much. Like, but it's something that we all have to deal with, so like, shut up. Okay, anyways. Woo! Great, cool. I'm just knocking stuff over, it's cool. Okay, what was I talking about? History and how we don't appreciate it, and how like, it would be more helpful if we like made it like advertising, and like other stuff like advertising where like you make it presentable, and like, but also it's kind of like advertising is a big fat lie, so like, maybe we shouldn't do that. But at the same time, don't like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't even, like, my thoughts don't make sense, okay? Like, I just don't know how to like speak. Also, I'm so excited to start this book, but also not that excited because, like, I'm continuing to read my Wattpad books. But at the same time, I'm really excited to start this book because it's called The Girl with All the Gifts, and it's phenomenal. Like, I watched the movie, which it was really good, and so the book must be even better because, like, oh my gosh, it was so good. It was basically about this girl who was, like, we're living in a post-apocalyptic world with zombies and stuff, and like there ends up being like this like school, kind of like a boot camp, and there's girls in cells, like there's children in cells, and they're kind of like, and then they're learning, basically like the like I don't know how to explain it. Like it's like a prison learning environment for children, and you don't really understand what these children are until later in the movie. But basically, like they have these cells, and these cells like have a rotation where the kids sleep in, and they don't know anything other than they live in a cell, and then they get food, and then they also like learn stuff, and then they also can't leave their cell without being like in a wheelchair that has them like literally cuffed to the wheelchair, and like they have like a little thing that covers their mouth too, and like you're kind of like, what are they doing to these kids? Like, this is insane. Like, why the fuck are they like treating the kids this way? And then you find out later that the reason that they do all of that is because these kids are dangerous, because they're kind of cannibalistic, and but then eventually like the whole facility gets run over by zombies, and so they like basically everyone human like either flees or dies or turns into a zombie, and the little kids run too, and then they like go and do their freedom stuff, except for this one girl we're all focused on, and she ends up being taken by one of the teachers in the facility, and like the story's all about like how the little girl like cares for her teacher, and like everyone like hates the little girl because like she's like dangerous, because we find out later that the reason she's so cannibalistic and why all the other kids are cannibalistic is because they're basically like human zombie hybrids, because they're basically like the kids that were birthed out of like the pregnant zombies, like so like women who were pregnant and then were infected and then had the kids, like, and the kids were like not like, they were slightly minor like infected by the virus, but they weren't fully infected like how they would be if they were bitten. And so they have like cannibalistic urges, and they're sort of like zombies, but they're like, and they have faster reflexes, and they're like, I don't know, they're kind of like mutants, and like it's really cool like learning about them. And then like this whole story is about this little girl who's like discovering herself and like discovering like the dangers of herself and blah blah blah, and like it's pretty cool, and like it was a really really good movie, and like I'm sure the book is even gonna be even better, and like oh my god, I'm excited. I'm so excited. But I also really want to finish the book I'm reading right now because it's really good. But also, like, the other reason why I don't really want to start this book, because I'm afraid I'll lose it or something, or I'll damage it. Because I love having, like, books in person. Like, there's just, like, something so nostalgic about that. But at the same time, it's such a hassle because you have to, like, remember to bring it places and, like, read it and then, like, have bookmarks. And then, like, you're always worried if you're going to, like, forget it somewhere because, like, knowing me, I'm going to forget it. And so, like, every time I have a real book, I'm just kind of, like, all super worried that I'm going to lose it. And then, but when it's on my phone, it's really convenient because I always have my phone with me. So, like, I'm never going to lose the book. But at the same time, I really want to put this. I really want to read this. But, like, I'm kind of scared I'm going to lose it. So, like, I don't want to start reading it yet. But it's so good, though. Anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling because like this video made no sense. Like vaguely about history / Greeks, and then talking about a book. Like it did great. Like, oh, and let's not mention like the 30-second spiel where I was mad at my grandma. Like, hi, welcome to my confusing life. Like literally do not have my thoughts together ever. But yeah, okay, bye.